Hello world! Today I'm going to talk about how good communication can make your life easier and even more productive. Let's go! What's up guys? It's Rico, and today I'm going to talk about how good communication is important in the workplace, even at home today. A lot of people think that good communication isn't that important, but I'm here to tell you that it can make a huge difference in your relationships and how productive you are and your teams are at work. Good communication can definitely help people get along better. It can help reduce conflicts, and it can also help everybody achieve their goals much quicker and more effectively. So stick around and I'll go into this in more detail. So communication is key in any successful relationship, whether it's friends, family members, colleagues, whoever. It's really important to make sure that you're communicating well. It can help foster that sense of community and that connectedness. And it can even make your day more enjoyable. Like if you're communicating really well together, yeah, I would say it was a good day. And when you're communicating well, individuals can openly share their ideas, their thoughts. They can find more common ground, even make an environment more creative. People can come up with more creative solutions. But of course, communication isn't always easy. But by making a conscious effort to improve your communication, individuals can make their workplace, their relationships, everything around them a more productive environment. So let's get into the 5 tips of good communication. Number 1 is be clear, concise, and accurate. Have you ever had that feeling of when you're trying to communicate with someone and they're just feeling like they're not getting it? Maybe you were giving them too much information all at once, or maybe they just weren't entirely sure of what you were saying. In any case, it's important to be clear, concise, and accurate in your communication. If you're not, that can lead to miscommunication, which can lead to frustrating misunderstandings, wasted time, even conflict. Next time you need to communicate with someone, take a deep breath, and sometimes you need to slow down and speak even more intentionally. And as you go, make sure you're being as clear as possible, but then also you're checking in for understanding. See if they're tracking with you. See if there's anything they missed, or to ask questions along the way to make sure you're as clear as you can be. And they're also taking away what you want them to take away. Your message is more likely to get across if you're creating that understanding, being clear, concise, and checking in to make sure they're tracking with you. That way, everyone will be a lot happier in the end. 2, tone can be just as important as the words you use. Have you ever heard the saying, it's not what you say, it's how you said it? My wife reminds me of this all the time. I'm so guilty of this. Tone of voice can be just as important as the words you use, especially when it comes to persuasion. A study published in the Journal of Psychology Science found that people are more likely to be persuaded by a message if it's delivered by a warm, sincere tone of voice. On the flip side of that, if it's delivered in a cold, detached tone, people are less likely to respond, and your message is more likely to be ignored or be less effective. So what does that mean for you? If you want to persuade someone to do something, make sure you use a friendly, sincere, warm voice. And the other thing is not to talk to your partner like a coworker. It doesn't work that way. My wife reminds me all the time. Talk to her like my wife, not like a coworker. But in both situations, you should be using a warm and sincere voice. Number 3, body language sends messages that your words may not. And body language is a fascinating thing. It can convey all sorts of messages, both verbal and nonverbal. So if you can see here, I'm reinforcing things with my hands, but nonverbal could be something like rolling your eyes if someone's talking with you. That definitely is a clear sign that you're not interested in what they're saying, and it's pretty rude. I think we'd all agree that rolling your eyes at someone while they're talking is pretty rude. Or another sign is if you cross your arms like this when someone's talking, that usually is a sign of you being closed off or dismissive or defensive about what the other person is saying. Poker players are a master of body language and nonverbal cues. That's how they understand ticks or tells when they're playing, and some things that we may not even know that we're doing. So body language it's a powerful form of communication. And it's worth paying attention to if you want to make sure you're sending the right messages. Use body language that complements your message, not contradicts. Number 4 is listen actively. So when you're in a conversation with someone, it's important to listen actively to what they're saying and not just waiting for your turn to respond. Active listening involves actually hearing the words that are being spoken, but also taking note of the tone, the body language, all the things that we talked about earlier, and the other nonverbal cues that they're showing. It just shows that you are engaged in the conversation and you actually care about what the other person is saying. I'm guilty of this and I've gotten better, but if you're so fixed on the thing that you want to say next or so fixed on your response, are you actually hearing what they're saying? Are you actually, your cognitive load, already thinking about how you want to respond? Did you just hear the words that they just said? Now, active listening can be tough, especially if you're already thinking about what the next thing is you want to say. And I get it, type A's perform well, but you need to be respectful and actually listen to what they're saying, because if you are just thinking about what you want to say next, it might be off base or off point. So put in the effort to truly, really listen, be present. It can build strong relationships and even improve your job performance because you heard everything thoroughly. So next time you're in a discussion, be present. It just might make the difference. And finally, number 5 is be responsive. Have you ever been in the conversation where you feel like you're the only one talking, or you're talking to like an empty telephone at the end, or Zoom call that no one's paying attention in? It can be frustrating to try to keep the conversation going, knowing that people around are uninterested in what you're talking about. It sucks. It's frustrating. But there are ways to encourage others to open up. One of the most effective ways is to simply respond to the person who's talking. Respond to what they're saying. Use words that they've used. It shows that you were paying attention. And by acknowledging that other person and showing that you're paying attention, it shares that you care about them and the conversation. Ask a follow-up question to get more insight and more detail about something they were talking about. It just gives that person a better feeling like someone's actually hearing them. And then it gives them an opportunity to keep the conversation going, especially if it's one that's important to them or the business or the relationship. So next time you're in a conversation, if you feel like it's lagging or dragging, or the Zoom meeting you're in, it feels like people's attention spans are dropping, don't be afraid to jump in, ask some curious and thoughtful questions to keep things moving. I think it'll make everyone feel more involved, more engaged, and more appreciated. So that's it. Those are the 5 tips. Remember that communication is key in any workplace, any relationship. When it's good, it can lead to understanding and cooperation and blue skies and rosy flowers and everything. But when it's bad, it can quickly lead to frustration and unhappiness, conflict. So again, we outlined these tips for improving communication. Be clear, concise, accurate, use the right tone of voice, pay attention to your body language. And if you want to improve communication in your workplace, start out just by trying these tips. There's 5, should be relatively easy to remember. Would love to hear how they worked for you in the comments below. Leave your thoughts, progress, anything you want to talk about, and I will see you next time.